First, we must reform institutions of global governance, both political and financial, to reflect today's realities. Africa must have a stronger voice in shaping the decisions that affect its future. That includes long overdue reform of the Security Council, where incredibly Africa has no permanent member and other regions remain underrepresented. And it includes an overhaul of today's unjust and unfair international financial architecture.
Yes, hello everyone. Africa is not represented, but Africa is always being accused.
Africa is waking up. And this time, it's not with permission, it's with purpose. In a historic decision, Capt. Ibrahim Traoré and the Burkinabe government have expelled the UN's top official in the country. Why? Because enough is enough. Enough of the hypocrisy. Enough of the interference. Enough of the destruction dressed as development. Today, we break down what this means, not just for Burkina Faso, but for the entire African continent. On August 18, 2025, the government of Burkina Faso declared Carole Flores Marexniak, the UN resident coordinator, persona non grata, effectively expelling her from the country. This isn't just a political move. It's a clear message to the world: Africa will no longer be bullied, manipulated, or treated like a project. The official reason? Activities considered incompatible with her duties. But the deeper truth is clear to many Africans: these international envoys often push foreign agendas, not African interests. Capt. Traoré made it clear: we are building a sovereign nation. Anyone working against that vision will not be welcome. To understand the weight of this decision, you must understand the man behind it. Capt. Ibrahim Traoré, one of Africa's youngest heads of state, is not your typical leader. He came to power through a people-supported revolution, not for riches or ego, but out of frustration with a system that failed his people. Since then, he's become a symbol of Pan-African strength. He speaks directly to the people. He rejects foreign influence. And most importantly, he champions African dignity. In a continent still crawling out from the shadows of colonization, Traoré is a spark, lighting a fire of resistance and pride. Let's ask a simple question. What has the United Nations actually done for Africa? On paper, it's there to help. In reality, it often plays the role of gatekeeper, deciding what help Africa deserves, and what it doesn't. Meanwhile, billions in aid flow into the hands of contractors, consultants, and NGOs, with little accountability. Even worse, the UN rarely confronts the root causes of Africa's struggles: exploitation, corruption fueled by foreign powers, and military intervention from former colonial rulers. And here's the irony: the UN says nothing about what France has done in Burkina Faso, Mali, or Niger. So who are they really working for? We cannot talk about sovereignty without talking about France's influence, especially in West Africa. For decades, France has maintained a neo-colonial grip through military bases, economic dependence via the CFA franc, political interference. In Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger, French forces were welcomed in the name of fighting terrorism. But instead of peace, these countries saw more violence, more instability, and more division. Now, with leaders like Traoré rising, the people are saying, no more. And as they push out French troops, close foreign bases, and reclaim control, we're witnessing the rebirth of African identity. What's happening in Burkina Faso is part of something bigger, a Pan-African awakening. From Mali to Niger, from Ghana to Ethiopia, the youth are rising. They're asking real questions. Why are we still poor on the richest continent? Why do we wait for permission to solve our own problems? Why do we keep trusting those who benefit from our failure? Pan-Africanism is no longer an idea. It's a movement. And it's being powered by young voices, digital platforms, and leaders unafraid to confront the system. This is Africa's moment, but only if we seize it. Here's what must happen. Unite regionally, through trade, security, and infrastructure. Invest in education and tech, to build self-reliance, not dependency. Support bold leaders, like Traoré, who put Africa first. Tell our own stories, through platforms like this one. We cannot wait for the UN, France, or anyone else to rescue us. The future will be African, or it will be nothing. Captain Traoré's stand is a warning shot to every system that thinks Africa is still asleep. Burkina Faso is saying no, not just to a UN official, but to a legacy of domination. And now the question is, will the rest of Africa rise with them? Globe showing Europe Africa make Africa great is more than a name, it's a mission. If you believe in that mission, like, comment, and subscribe. Let your voice be heard.
Yes, welcome back, my dear lovely families, friends, fellow Africans. It's true that Burkina Faso has expelled UN top official of a report on child mistreatment. Before moving too far, my dear lovely family, listen to this a little bit from Professor PLO Lumumba.
To finance terrorist organizations. In the Sahel, it has actually been alleged that some terrorist groups are financed by France for purposes of destabilizing the regimes, particularly the new administrations in Burkina Faso, in Niger, and in Mali. So the hand of the former colonizers is something that we must never ever forget, because the colonizers' interest is to ensure that certain parts remain unstable to enable them to exploit their resources. Remember, the neo-colonial project is alive and well, and as has been said by African commentators, the neo-colonizer does not change. They may shift their shape, but the agenda is one, and when they have mercenaries, they can use them. In the recent past, in the Democratic Republic of Congo, we saw some mercenaries. Who hired them? For what purpose? To what end? Are they the neo-colonizers? It is not lost on me that the former colonial powers have not condemned these mercenaries, and they are being used to good effect. And I have no doubt in my mind that when we talk about terrorism, we must never ever for 1 minute imagine that the hangover of colonialism is still alive and well, and it carries with it the desire to control African states by any means necessary.
Yes, that is Professor PLO Lumumba. Can you talk a little bit about what France has done to Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso? So, families, friends, fellow Africans, let us now dive deep into this story of Burkina Faso expelled UN top official of a report on child mistreatment. You know, what's happening in Burkina Faso has shocked these powerful nations, and they didn't expect that Captain Ibrahim Traoré can induce the spirit of Pan-Africanism to the young people of Burkina Faso. Right now, they're accusing him for mistreatment of child. The way we see Captain Ibrahim Traoré loving the people, children, can Traoré allow that to happen? No. Traoré, what he's doing right now is to prepare a new generation that will be in love with their nation, that will serve the nation, that will be patriotic, that will be good citizen. That's what Captain Ibrahim Traoré is doing. And the big fear of those who are always exploiting Africa, Burkina Faso, is to see a new generation being induced in the spirit of Captain Ibrahim Traoré. So they fear the spirit of Pan-Africanism. That's why when people such as Patrice Lumumba came with the idea of African resources to be controlled by African resources, were removed from power, assassinated. When leaders such as Kwame Nkrumah said Africa must unite, he was overthrown. People such as Mugabe, who said we have to take the land. You see what happened to Zimbabwe, suffered sanctions. Leaders such as Thomas Isidore Sankara, when he said we have no need to pay to IMF and World Bank because what they have taken from us, they have also to give us more money. He was removed from power. Listen to when leaders such as Gaddafi said Africa must have a single currency, unite. You see what happened to Gaddafi. So they fear the spirit of Pan-Africanism. And what Captain Ibrahim Traoré is doing right now, of course I shared the video on these student, these small boys and girls trained in the camp for Somabu. Captain Ibrahim Traoré is preparing a new generation that will be in love with their nation, that will participate in national building, that will be a good citizen, that will protect their nation, their resources. So they are fearing that they expected maybe Captain Ibrahim Traoré alone, he's a human being, he can maybe one day go out of power. But if we prepare more Pan-Africanists, more revolutionaries, the way Captain Ibrahim Traoré is doing right now, it means to be difficult for those who are exporting Burkina Faso to manipulate the majority. So that's why right now they're coming with these things. They're accusing Captain Ibrahim Traoré because Captain Ibrahim Traoré is preparing a new generation, consciousness generation, the generation that will defend the resources of Burkina Faso. They think that they're not okay to those who are exploiting Africa and Burkina Faso. What's wrong for Burkina Faso to train its people, its children? What Captain Ibrahim Traoré is doing is to prepare a new generation. We have seen this thing in Japan, in China, in Korea, where children are being raised by the nation, being trained how to serve the nation, how to be good citizens. And that's what is happening in Burkina Faso. And you may ask yourself, why this time this report is coming out when we see students being trained in presidential camp to prepare these good citizens of tomorrow, good leaders of tomorrow. And Traoré said himself that he's preparing a new generation that will not be manipulated and that will be difficult for them to betray their motherland. So they want people who can betray their motherland. And that's why they come with these things. We know their tactic. We know that technique. They did the same to Gaddafi. They removed Gaddafi from power. They came with these articles. They use our own people who looks like me and you to overthrow our leaders. So they have tried by coup. It looks like in Burkina Faso it's difficult. They went to Mali. Also, we saw some spies being caught. You see, they have tried every means to see that Captain Ibrahim Traoré has to go out of power. But if these people, they're speaking about human rights, how many Africans are suffering in DRC? How many bad things France has done to this continent? These colonizers has done to this continent. And recently you heard that Yemen refused to pay reparation to Namibia and other countries in the continent of Africa. So have you heard a report talking about those issues? When it comes to their interest, they can write a lot of bad things to us. And that's why I'm saying, you see, as you heard at the beginning, the UN General Secretary, Antonio Guterres, talking about Africa is not represented. No one is talking about representation of Africa. No report is saying, Africa is not represented, and sometimes things is not okay in Africa because Africa is not represented. The voice of Africa is not heard. No one is talking about those issues. No one is talking about those issues. They are always looking on their interest. The big fear to them is Captain Ibrahim Traoré's spirit. That's the big fear. They fear African youth because, you know, by the year 2050, in every 4 person, in every 5, sorry, every 5 person, 5 will be African. In every 5 people, 4 will be Africans. So they fear that if this population will be awakening, these Africans will be conscious. I think they have nothing. They have nothing. Their children, they have nothing. They fear that their children will lose power. And that's why they're trying to do everything to stop Captain Ibrahim Traoré, to spread the message of hope, the message of resilience, the message of unity, the message of love, the spirit of Pan-Africanism. That's what they fear. So that's the great fear to those who are exposed. But if you have no fear, nothing can happen. If you do what is good, you live in a good way. Africans are polite people. Africans are calm people. Africans are not fighters. Africans have no jealousies. These things we have trained to be like that. We have been trained to think that we are enemies. But since that's why you see Africans are not fighters, are not fighting each other. Africans are not scrambling for resources. If you heard one time Africans invite European nations for resources, Africans invite the Asian countries for resources. If you heard such kind of story, Africa inviting American countries to seek resources, no. Africans naturally, we are good people. We welcome everyone. That's why we welcome even those who colonized us. We welcome them. They turned around us. They took us into slavery because of our kindness. So Africans, we have no such kind of behavior, bad behavior. So they have nothing to fear from us. But it's we who are supposed to fear from them. Because what they want from us is our resources. This is a big scramble. And that's why they're trying to penetrate, to provide this bad, to get a bad image to Burkina Faso, to legitimize their mission, that what is happening in Burkina Faso, children are being mistreated, you know, that, something like that. But they know that Captain Ibrahim Traoré is preparing a new generation. They think that is threatening them. They don't want to see, and they want our generation to have the same ideas, to have the same ideologies, to have the same knowledge as their ancestors. So we are saying enough is enough. And I urge all of you, families, friends, fellow Africans, those who have good intention to this continent, please, wherever you are, let us preach peace, preach love, preach unity. Let us protect this young leader, Captain Ibrahim Traoré, revolutionary leader in Mali, in Niger, Burkina Faso, in all over the continent. Let us protect our leaders. There's a big scramble for resources. No one will care about us as long as we don't care ourselves. Let us unite. Our only salvation, we don't have these weapons, powerful weapons. We don't have medicines. We need to come together. The only salvation for us is our unity. Families, friends, fellow Africans, please, please, please make sure that we unite to be one. Let us preach peace, love, and unity. And I hope Captain Ibrahim Traoré will reply to them, will tell them that if you are serious, why you didn't say anything to mercenaries who caught in Democratic Republic of Congo. You didn't say anything to France, what France has done to our nations. If it's true that United Nations, they love Africans, they love our children, our people, what's happening right now in Sudan? Are they talking anything? Are they supporting peace? So families, friends, fellow Africans, it is sometimes paining to see that we are being accused while we are being denied our voices. We have no permanent seat in the UN Security Council. Mr. Guterres has agreed. These financial institutions are based on their own interest. Africa, we borrow at highest rate, and they know that we cannot pay. We don't have money. We don't have machinery to print those money. We have nothing. How sure you are that America can sit down and print a lot of money? Are we there? And European can do the same? We have, I think, Africa, let me say this. Our leaders, please, if you love this continent, sit down, find a way on how we can unite. Because if we continue like this, today we are talking about Burkina Faso. Tomorrow, it will be another country. And they didn't start it in Burkina Faso. If you take 10 years, you can understand. They went to Zimbabwe, they went to Libya, they went to Rwanda, they visited Congo. They have visited Congo almost every time. When Congo is trying to be at peace, they erupt again. You see, they have visited Sudan. No, we have no longer have Sudan right now. And Sudan is going to be divided. I'm telling you the truth. If we are not careful, we are going to find two countries in Sudan. Sudan is going to be divided. So, leaders, Africans who have goodwill, please, 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 let us unite. Let us come together. Africans, yes, we agree with these politics and the other issues. The challenge is not about politics. The challenge is about systems. Let us change systems. We can change leaders as we want. Even half an hour, we can change leaders, but nothing will happen as long as the system is the same, because these leaders are being shaped by the system. And that's why one day I heard Pan-Africanists talking about the way we get leaders. We have to find a new way to get African leaders, because this system that we have put in place by other people, the system choose the leader that they want, not the leaders that people want. If the system likes someone who can save the interest of the West, the system will choose that kind of leader. Look, our education systems. Our education systems are preparing Africans to be hired by Western companies, Western systems. Yes, you can say I'm being hired by the government, but who placed the government? This government we have inherited from our colonial masters. So we are being hired by the same people who are lamented. So families, friends, fellow Africans, it needs all of us, the people of Africa, to come together to strategize on how we can move out from this chain of slavery, mental slavery. So families, let us not speak for too long. The aim is to share this update from Burkina Faso on the issue of expelling the top UN officials over child rights. But we know that the child are not mistreated in Burkina Faso, because we have seen the same thing like the way they have said in South Africa. So they're trying to find a way to sanction Burkina Faso. So let us stand with Burkina Faso. Let us stand with Sahel. Let us stand with Captain Ibrahim Traoré. Families, friends, fellow Africans, have a nice time. Thank you.
Thank you, Africa, Mama Africa.